In this video, we're going to look at how to multiply decimals. Now, if you recall, when we add or subtract decimals, we have to line up the decimal point. Again, if you understand the reason for doing that, it's because we want to add the digits with the same place value. So to make sure you add, ones and ones, tenths and tenths, hundreds and hundredths. Same for subtraction. But for multiplication, we don't need to line up decimal points. So the rule is going to be completely different. So what we're going to do is, first we're going to treat the as whole numbers. So although they have decimals in there, we're just going to treat them. You can ignore the decimal points, just treat them like whole numbers. And that's the first step. So in the second step, let's look at how to multiply decimals. So in the previous video, we talked about how to add decimals and subtract decimals. And we need to line up decimal points. The reason we do that is we want to make sure we add the ones and ones, and the tenths and tenths, and the hundredths and hundredths. And same for the subtraction. But for multiplication, it's completely different. So we don't need to line up the decimal points anymore. So we're going to multiply these numbers as whole numbers by removing the decimal points. So pretty much we ignore the decimal points, just multiply like 237 times 19. But of course, when we do that, we change the question, because we ignored the decimal places. So in the answer, we're gonna modify our answer to correct that, then back to the correct answer. So we're gonna place the decimal point in the place, counting from the right to the left, and that to make sure we have the total number of the place values as in the original two numbers. So let's take a look at how we do this. So we're supposed to multiply 2.37 and 1.9, but we're going to just ignore the decimal points. So it's like we're multiplying 237 times 19. All right, so in order to multiply multi-digits numbers, we need to do steps. So for example, for its first step, we multiply 9 and 7. So we're going to do 9 times 7 from the times table, the multiplication table. Now 9 times 7 was 7 times 9. We get 63. So we're going to write down that 3. And that 6, we're going to line up with the tens place. And then we're going to multiply 9 and 3. So when we multiply 9 and 3, we get 9 times 3, that is 27 from the times table. So again, we only write down 7 and put that little 2 and line up with the hundredths place. And finally, we're going to multiply 9 and 2. That's going to give us 18. So because we don't have anything else to multiply, so we're going to go ahead and write down 18. Okay, so far we have finished multiplying 9 with 237. So in the next step, we're going to multiply this 1, but remember this 1 doesn't really mean 1 because the place value of 1 is 10. So we actually multiply 10 with 237. So whenever we multiply, so remember in the second step, we're going to, so this was the first step when we multiply 237 9. So we did, multiply each one of them with 9. Now we're going to do 237 times that little 1 there, but that 1 means a 10. And so whenever we multiply a number by 10, literally you just add, you will add a 0 to the end of the number. So the first step we're going to do is immediately write down a 0. Some instructors may have said it's a placeholder to hold that place, but why do we want to hold that place? And the reason is because we want to we're not multiplying 1 here. It's not a 237 times 1. It's actually 237 times 10. So first, whenever you multiply a number by 10, you will have a 0 at the end. So now we can forget about that 0. So literally, we just bring down that 0. And then we just need to multiply 237 with that 1 there. Whatever we get, we're going to write it down. So of course, that's why when we multiply with the tens place, we have to make sure we write on a 0, which comes from the 10. So now we're going to do 1 times 7, that's 7. 1 times 3, that's 3. 1 times 2, and that is 2. So now we're going to line up. We already have the digits lined up. We're going to add them. So 3 plus 0 is 3. 7 plus 7 is 14. I'm going to put a little 1 up there. And 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. Oops. And put a little 1 up there. And the 1 plus 2 gives us 3 plus 1. That gives us a 4. Okay, so we got the answer for 237 times 19. So now we're going to modify our answer to get the answer for let's copy our answer here because I'm kind of running out of space here. So to get the answer for the decimal multiplication, what we do is we're going to see, because when we multiply, we ignore the decimal point. So it's kind of like we increase the number 100 times because 2 from 2.37 to 237, it's really from 2 to 200, it's 100 times. And the same thing here, when we change the number 1.9 to 19, we really increase the number 10 times because from 1 to 10, right? And so we have to divide by 110, which is equivalent to adding the decimal places. So here we count, there's 1 and 2 places to the right of the decimal point. Here in the second number, we have 1 decimal place to the right of the decimal point. So we're going to add them together. 2 plus 1, that gives us a 3. So in the answer, we need to make sure we put the decimal point right here such that we have 1, 2, 3 decimal places to the right of the decimal point. So now when we do this put the decimal point back, that will correct the step that we ignore the decimal points. So again, this is more like we increase the number 100 times here, 10 times here. So when we move the decimal point to the left 3 times, it will change those numbers back to the decimals. So the answer is 4.243. To summarize the steps one more time, when we multiply decimals, again, we don't need to line up the decimal points. So you can, if you want, you don't have to rewrite this, start over. You could just multiply with the decimal point in there, but you ignore them. And then after you get the answer, you place the decimal point back. And where do we put decimal point? You count the total number of decimal places in both numbers. So you have 2 here, 1 here, totally we have a 3. So you're going to make sure your answer also has 3 decimal places.